missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader when the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Oh my God, I love this song.
Sit, baby. Oh, yeah. Sitting home waiting for you. 'Cause staring at these walls is all I do. I try my best to be good to you, but you're never around when I'm in the mood. I'm getting tired of being tired of your ways. You haven't come home or even called me today. And you don't know the pain when I'm feeling alone. I'm calling out your name when you're not even home. And I need you with me, babe. Can't see you leaving me.
You know what? I have a story about this CD.
Shout out to Andy bringing us in
Yes.
on a vibe with Toto sitting home. Kima, Keisha, and Pam.
This CD was so hot. This,
Pam is the lead in this video.
I don't
Ed
know.
Lover paid her boo.
oh my God, Pam. I love. First of all, shout out to this woman that I went to high school with named Ty Alexander, aka Tiffany Alexander. She stole my Toto CD from me in 10th grade in 1998 when I had first got my Volvo. She stole it from me and didn't give it back, and I was so mad because I listened to that CD every day on the way from Hamilton back to my house, driving around Overland, up Jefferson to Crenshaw, and she stole it, and I never got that CD replaced. I had to wait until I was well into my 30s to buy it again.
Listen, that CD knocked.
It knocks still. I can't wait to play that song again.
And like I said, shout out to all of them, Keisha especially. That is my friend.
And
I love
Pam, who's
Keisha.
converted to
And Pam,
Christ.
yeah.
Gave up her ways.
Let me tell you though.
That show, oh my God. What was it called?
The on TV One,
Yes.
Carlos King, the Divas or something.
It was all the girls in that house.
Yeah.
And Pam took me
I love
out.
Pam. Listen, we had a great spades game. So that was fun.
I love
So it was
Pam.
Pam and Keisha. You know, Keisha's obviously married to Omar Epps and a couple other people. It was a good times a few years back. At any rate, welcome into Hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is the show where we hit all the trending topics across entertainment, sports, lifestyle, and culture. We have been talking about Diddy and his countersuit. Well, he's being sued.
And he gonna lose.
I don't know.
Allegedly.
I don't know.
Maybe.
It's not sounding too good.
No.
We were also talking about SZA and her relationship with Drake. She said it was childish. It was nothing serious.
SZA.
You know, shout out to SZA.
I didn't like her at first. My homegirl Crystal got me into liking SZA more. She's like, no, you just gotta listen to the first CD. And I finally listened
The
to
first CD, what, The Week? Listen, you got 9 to 5. I'm The Weeknd.
Yeah, I
Make
got
him
into
lose
it
his
and
mind
became a fan.
every weekend.
Yeah.
Shout out to SZA.
I love SZA now because of Crystal.
So here's the thing, right? So SZA's been very open about her surgeries. You know, she's had a BBL. She used to take some heat because people used to imply that SZA was not always honest about random things in life. You know, she used to draw freckles on her face, said they were real, they were not. You know, things of that nature. I don't know. I don't know too much about the personal side. But she's very open about, you know, her struggles, her feelings. You know, sometimes we feel insecure. Sometimes, you know, we may wake up and not feel like we love ourselves so much that day. And she's honest about that in her music. But she says that people who think insecurity is her brand, she said that's a misconception. This is from a Rolling Stone interview that she did recently. She says people be like insecurity is her brand. And it's like, no, B word. I'm honest with how I feel about myself, but if I catch you saying that, it's going to be different. I still beat your A over disrespecting me. Now, that's pretty intense. You know, you could just say, wish you well, boo. You don't know. And keep it moving. Saying you're going to be somebody's, but
I love it.
for putting it
I
out there.
I love
I
the
know you
passion.
like that because you like the violence and the passion.
It's passion. It's not violent. She's
Is it a sign of insecurity because she's saying, look, I don't care what you have to say, but if you say it, I'm going to beat you up behind it.
everybody has insecurity.
Of course.
And I don't think that it's cool for people to try to play upon what you just discussed about your insecurity. It's for you to discuss, and that was it. No one needs to double down on what you just said. It's trolling, and it's a little bit disrespectful. But people are also gonna have something to say. When you're a celebrity and you open up yourself to these types of things, you open yourself up to criticism and opinions that are unsolicited most of the time.
Indeed. Andy?
So hang it up, SZA.
Isn't it fair that you can probably make the case that when you look at the branding of R&B, it is based off of insecurity to a degree? I know it's a lot of pain and a lot of trauma, you know what I'm saying? But like Mary J. Blige, I feel like a lot of her stuff it came from a place of pain, but she was sharing her insecurities as well too.
I mean, I could see that because it's a lot, why don't you love me? What's wrong with me? Why won't you be with me? Is it something I did? Is it something I said I can change? I don't know if R&B has that type of love and suffering and pain in it currently. But I think the difference with SZA is a lot of this stuff, like, in her music, maybe I'm not happy with myself at the weekend. People considered that a side chick anthem, and accepting less than.
But so was Saving All My Love for You.
I know, but they didn't know that. That's kind of what we were talking about with Annie earlier about things being a little more covert.
Yeah.
So. This 90. Look, she's straight out saying, you got 9 to 5, I'm the weekend. We can do this in shifts, girl. Make him lose his mind every weekend.
But how many women are out there actually doing that but not talking about it? Okay.
A lot.
So what's the issue?
I didn't say, listen.
Not you, but I'm just saying.
The issue is with others. People don't want to face themselves. They feel much better sitting on a perch looking down saying, oh, that's
See, that's
your
why
issue.
I'm going to keep it real friend, because I'm going to be the one to remind you all the time to cut it out and just stop playing games.
Pretty Brown Mimi in the chat says, I'm happy with me, but I'm open to breast augmentation if needed. Listen, I say do what works for you.
Listen, a filler is not...
You said a filler?
Look, give me all the fillers, pump up the face, fill it up, shoot the entire face, Botox it, Restylane around the... Do it. Give it all up. Yep.
Andy?
Mimi, just as long as you're doing it for yourself and not for somebody else.
Facts. I mean, that is what I always say. I am not against plastic surgery, augmentation. I do think some of those people should slow their roll.
Yes.
I think they should go slow.
Be
and be
very
a little
natural.
more patient.
Yes.
But
let it take effect and sit in your face to see what it's going to look like. Because, see, sometimes you'll get it and then you go to sleep on the wrong side and you be looking crooked and going crazy. It happened to me a few weeks ago, so you got to go back and adjust it.
You got to make sure that it's balanced and you're not doing too much.
Let it sit and rest in your face so we can know what you look like, and then it'll be cool.
Well, speaking of knowing what people look like, when we come forward, we're going to get into this topic of pretty girl privilege. Is it a real thing? Does it exist?
Come on.
What does it do for you exactly? And who has it? All of that and more. We'll talk that and, of course, more trending topics and headlines. You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
At Susan G. Komen, we believe that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, pretty girl privilege. In theory, right, it means that the more attractive you are, the further you can get ahead in life. But I think that there's a lot of caveats to that. I think that it is also situational. And then it also begs the question, what are you really getting? Like, what does attractiveness really get you? It can vary from person to person, because I think that a component that people forget about or don't include is that, one, you have to know what to do with your privilege once you get it, right? Because you could be handed opportunity situations, but if you don't know how to facilitate it, work it out in your favor, then it's just a wasted opportunity, or an experience, right? The second thing to that is, and I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with it, I don't know, growing up, my parents, my family, I was always taught never to rest on pretty. Like I've said all the time, pretty is obtainable. It's not something that's hard to get. You can buy pretty. You can create pretty. Doesn't take much, right?
Question though, do you think that you were told not to rest on pretty because you were naturally a pretty person that didn't have to buy it?
I don't think...
Seriously?
No, seriously. I don't think that my parents thought about it in terms of that way because I'm a black woman. You know what I mean? And just realistically, because that is a conversation too. Some people say that it is not possible for black women to have pretty privilege, not because they're not attractive or things of that nature, but because it's still not going to put them ahead of a white woman. Or, in certain situations, it might matter, but it may not, right? I think for my parents, my mom was from the South, my dad was from Texas. So I just think that working hard and being dedicated, those are, things that they wanted to instill in me, because ultimately that's what's going to get you ahead, And so I think that I can remember being about 8 years old and I came home. I don't know what happened. Maybe somebody teased me at school or whatever, but I was crying. I was like, I'm ugly, I'm hideous, what's happening? And my dad was not the most sensitive man, but he was very direct. So he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, whatever happened. He marched me into the bathroom, had me look in the mirror, tears streaming down my face. He was like, "Does this look like ugly to you?" And I was like, "No." Here's the thing. I didn't know, but I was too scared to say yes. So I said no because I didn't know. It's like, because at that time I didn't understand. To me, it only mattered whatever, and I don't know what the kid said, what the outside world said, didn't matter how I felt. The exact opposite of what people tell you now, but I didn't understand that as a child. And so I was like, no. He was like, and it's not. So stop crying and get out of here. And that was the end of it. There was no big pep talk. Like, you being ridiculous, move around. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on pretty privilege? Because I know, like, obviously in dating and situations like that, you might be able to get the attention of a guy that you're interested in faster, right? But you're also, on the flip side of that, getting a lot of unwanted attention from men you may not be interested in, And then, like I said, pretty is obtainable. You can buy it through plastic surgery. You can conceal it with makeup. There's all different things to do it. So while I understand its value, and I'm not taking away from it, in the grand scheme of things, how much does it really do for you?
It makes it easier. It does. I don't think I'm the appropriate person to ask about. I believe that, attractive privilege exists. It's interesting. I feel weird talking about this because I didn't think that I just recently discovered that I was attractive. Somebody told me, recently that I was handsome. And it wasn't until because I never really felt attractive growing up, and because I was overweight and always called fat, and that usually equates to unattractive in most terms, I didn't feel that I was attractive because I was overweight. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't until I don't think I started feeling attractive until I was well into my 30s.
But I mean, don't you think that's a part of it? Because in general, I think people come into their own, so to speak, in the 30s. You've had some experience, not everyone, but I feel like you've had some experience under your belt. You understand a little bit more about interpersonal relations. You understand the things that are outside of your control that may affect you.
But even in all that, I think that because I was still looking for external validation, because I've been told I was fat and unattractive basically my whole entire life. And it wasn't until I was an adult and people were coming on to me. I was like, what? It was new for me, and even when I went to, Gary a few weeks ago, people that knew my father, they were like, "Oh, you look just like your father." And people were staring at, your father was so handsome. And I was like, "Oh, so you're saying I'm attractive?" Girl, calm down. It's not even so I'm aware that it exists. And for me, it was because I've always, I think for when I operated out of insecurity, I've always dated attractive people. So
do you think that because when you, sorry to interrupt, but do you think, because I know that there was a period of time.
Stereotypically attractive people.
No.
To validate myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yes,
I was going to ask you that.
Yes.
So yes, you did that. Because I was going to say this, I know that there's a period of time in my life where I didn't feel as though I was attractive. And so my goal would be to find the attractive or the person, right, to validate me being the person as well.
And the crazy part is in that when I stopped operating out of insecurity, I was like, duh, do you know that in order for you to get an attractive person, they're not going to date somebody that's ugly crazy. And sometimes they are, but in order for you to get an attractive person, you have to be somewhat attractive yourself.
You have to have something to put out there.
Yes. So it didn't dawn on me again until later. So I was like, oh, so maybe I do have, handsome a privilege too. And then once I started realizing that I got places because of how I looked and I wasn't ugly, I was like, oh. And again, when you realize that, you do start to do things different and you start to do the right things because you realize that you do have a certain amount of power with this privilege.
You're going to take better care of yourself. Well, we're gonna. I mean, in general. I mean, inside, like maybe like hey. I mean, because one thing I will say though, right? I am, and maybe it's my Taurus ways, a tad lazy. Not really, like not when it comes to like work ethic or things like that. Sure. I mean, with myself, like it's been 3.5 months. How often have you seen my hair done? That's because it takes a lot of effort to do all of that, so there's little things like that
but I think that's also too that has something to do with pretty privilege or attractive privilege.
Why? That's just lazy.
No, but I'll tell you why too, because I am the same way. I don't really dress up or retwist as much as I think I should, or even shave, right? But I think that, or not even think, but because I know that it doesn't really take away from my looks, and I could still go outside and people are still going to try to like mac me down or talk to me because I'm attractive. It doesn't take away. So I know that if I shave and did my hair, it's just going to amplify the look and I'm going to get more attention that I'm probably really not trying to deal with right now.
I mean, I will say that sometimes you don't want the headache of attention. But what I will say, though, is that at least I can say for me, I know sometimes like if I go out and, I'm chilling, like I'm like hair in a bun, like casual, I might get overlooked the whole night, depending upon where I go.
Right.
And who's in attendance.
It just depends.
Yes. It just depends. Yes. Do you know what I mean? So I don't like, in those moments, it doesn't feel like I have pretty girl privilege because it's not being exercised. It's being overlooked because also, and I'm sure this happens in other places, but LA can be very superficial sometimes.
All the time.
I mean, and because it is Hollywood, image is very important. People go a little bit harder about their body in it, their body conscious, things of that nature, just because it leads to directly, work.
Yes.
So
yep.
I think that is something too. But we have a caller on the line, Mimi from Jacksonville. Shout out to you, Mimi, staying up late. What's going on? What are your thoughts on pretty girl privilege?
Hi, Jill. Hi, Trent.
Hey, Mimi. How you doing?
I'm great. How are y'all?
We're good.
Nice.
And full.
And full.
Well, I think that pretty girl privilege, light skin privilege, I think it's real. And I agree with you, Jill. I think it depends on your station in life. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I've been told that I'm attractive, I'm pretty, but I have never really thought of myself like that. Similar to what Trent was saying, growing up feeling insecurities. So I felt like, makeup does wonders. Hair, makeup, you do things and you can put on layers and layers and layers, although I like my makeup simple, but still effective. But I would rather be respected than thought of as pretty because, looks fade, but, that respect, that's forever. You know what I'm saying? Use your mind, build your career, just be a well-rounded person, But you're pretty and you're smart and you have a great career. So you know what I'm saying? You use what you have, but your brains, and that's better than looks. You know what I'm saying?
I just, for me, like my parents, that was just what it was in our household. It wasn't like, emphasis on, you're the pretty girl, or you're gonna go be the prom queen and stuff like that. I was not the prom queen. I didn't even run. I was a homecoming princess one time. Barely made that.
Wow.
But I mean, that wasn't what they encouraged. They cared about those books. They cared about school. They cared about grades because they felt that it was going to take you much further. Not that they completely shunned appearance and whatever, but I really think that it's really subjective. It's subjective to the time period. It's subjective to what age you are. The things that I feel like, obviously the things that a man is looking for at 25, or when I say men, I just mean because I'm heterosexual. So just putting that out there for the room. is not necessarily not you. That's not what I meant.
No, I'm like, well, wait, did people think something different?
No. I just want to be
me.
inclusive.
Yeah, don't mind me.
I just want to be inclusive.
You know I'm
I
crazy.
just don't.
Don't mind me.
I know.
It's
I just
11:30.
don't want anybody to feel like I'm leaving them out of the mix or their orientation or their mix. Because here's the thing: how does pretty girl privilege work with two lesbians? Is it a different type of vibe than it is with heterosexual people? You know, like, how do those things work out? Like with approach or whatever, might be a little bit different. So I just think that the pretty girl privilege can be very, very situational. And I think that people, you know, give it too much credence because really the most area where, again, not saying it's not a real thing, not saying it doesn't help, not saying it doesn't help like in employment or things in that nature somewhat, but I think the place obviously where it makes the most impact is in your dating life and maybe the choices or options that are out there for you. Andy?
And Hollywood.
And Hollywood and the modeling industry and music. But, you know,
To the Hollywood point, it makes me wonder, like, if Beyonce wasn't attractive, would she be as big as she is? If Janet Jackson wasn't attractive, would she be as big as she is right now? If Megan Thee Stallion wasn't,
Janet Jackson is not a good example.
Janet Jackson, what are you talking about?
Because of the family name.
It's hard to say. But what I will say is that this is what you can say about entertainment industry. Obviously, I've been working in entertainment in various capacities for a very long time, right? And with the advent of videos, music videos in the 80s, what was considered talent and what was put forward started to shift. You mentioned Vesta earlier. Vesta had a hard time at certain points getting on. Vesta could blow the house down. Vesta was a beautiful woman.
Yes.
But Vesta was a thicker woman.
Yes.
And she came out right as the eras were changing over. There's a woman named Cheryl Lynn, Encore. Her career
Remember at
suffered.
7-Eleven?
What happened at 7-Eleven?
Remember I told you I ran into somebody at 7-Eleven?
That was Cheryl Lynn. Hilarious. So I feel like, you know, obviously there was a time, you even think about someone like Aretha Franklin, who throughout her career had weight issues. Obviously talented, could play, sing, write, do whatever. Attractive woman, but got bigger at a certain, you know, weight-wise at a certain point of her career in the 70s, early 80s. But it didn't mess with her thing. But if you fast forward about 20, 30 years, I don't know who the Aretha would be of that time period. They would be in the gym trying to work that out or making a visit to their Madonna's 60-something with a BBL. So.
I agree with what you're saying, and I agree with Andy, but when you look at someone like India Arie, beautiful, and Alicia Keys, beautiful, came out at the same time, but India didn't get quite the same shine as Alicia.
I got some commentary on that. I remember that actively. I worked at Virgin Records then, and I have some context I'd like to add to that. When we come forward, we'll get into more of this topic on the other side, news and sports. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Since you have been gone, I've been thinking so too. Just tell me what it is and what you feel I do wrong. We should stay together 'cause our love is so strong. And I need you with me, babe. Can't see you leaving me, babe. 'Cause I don't know
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis with the latest from the Black Information Network. Baltimore police are searching for suspects in connection with last night's shooting that left 5 people injured at HBCU, Morgan State University. Police believe the shooting stemmed from a dispute between 2 smaller groups, and the 5 people who were shot were not the intended targets. All are expected to survive. In Mississippi, the undersheriff of the Rankin County Sheriff's Office has resigned. Paul Holly held the position for just 4 months, although he did not give a reason for his departure. His resignation comes after 5 former sheriff deputies deputies and one former Richland police officer all pleaded guilty to torturing and beating 2 black men while in police custody. Today is National Taco Day. Americans are celebrating their love of beef, cheese, and lettuce folded up in a crispy tortilla. And you won't have to shell out much money either, because restaurants across the country will be offering deals and discounts on tacos. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcasts of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your beer.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
You are now in Big Tobacco's Fantasyland. Welcome. It's a healthier world where they want you to believe that vaping makes quitting cigarettes a breeze. Never mind the evidence that vaping leads to using both. And if you're younger, even better, teens who vape are 3 times likelier to use cigarettes. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the deadliest industry is your friend.
Big Tobacco's idea of smoke-free is a dangerous fantasy for us all. See reality at undo.org.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 joins you in standing for voting rights. When We All Vote is a leading national nonpartisan initiative on a mission to change the culture around voting and to increase participation in each and every election by helping to close the race and age gap. Created by Michelle Obama, When We All Vote brings together individuals, institutions, brands, and organizations to register new voters across the country and advance civic education for the entire family and voters of every age to build an informed and engaged electorate for today and generations to come. When We All Vote empowers their supporters and volunteers to take action through voting, advocating for their rights, and holding their elected officials accountable. Please visit whenweallvote.org to stand up for your rights, voting rights. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I knew he was going to hear this little.
Never gets old. The AKA Stroll song.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
You know we gotta let the verse rock. You're deserves an encore. You are locked in to hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. VIPs, we are getting it in. Rocking. Sherilyn, encore. Come on through with the jams. You're going to get a little bit of classic music here in addition to conversation and some food for your soul. So we've been talking about pretty girl privilege. Is it a thing? Does it exist? What does it do for you exactly? And the thing is this. Any kind of privilege, in order for it to thrive, one, you have to be amongst the group that are going to gravitate towards it and allow you to use that gravitas, right? You have to be involved in it. So I came across this clip on TikTok, and it was a girl, and she was talking about, she gets a lot of questions how she is able to do these fabulous vacations with her friends. They're all very young. And she was talking about a different type of privilege that I think goes hand in hand with it. She was saying how as a black woman who went to some Ivy League school, you know, a certain class of schools, these kids were involved in Jack and Jill, maybe Lynx Academy or whatever, and it continues on into their older life, and it allows for them to move in certain circles. And she's basically explaining that's how privilege works. Once you get into a circle, it allows you to move around and take advantage of the things that are considered higher up or elite there. And so when I think about privilege, that's why I always say that everybody has some privilege. They may not be aware of it. They may not be able to take advantage in every moment. But there are always spaces and situations where you have the upper hand. It may not be one that you particularly care about or may not be the most important to you, but everyone has some sort of privilege. I think that that is just the thing. Forensic accountant said the speakers and holding out their microphones to the audience, but nothing. Oh, he's talking about Toto. There will be no Toto slander here.
He
tonight.
said something earlier about being label mates of Toto. Were you signed to Bad Boy Forensic Accountant?
Let us find out. Take that. Bad Boy.
It might be Carl Thomas.
Emotional Summer Rain.
Yeah.
We like all of that. So listen, we're going to check out this clip and then we're going to talk more about it.
After posting my videos about my birthday, like the party and the trip, so many people came in my DMs and asked me, how did I make young black friends who are able to afford coming on these trips, traveling, doing all these things, bringing the nice gifts, blah, blah, blah. And the honest answer is that black elitism works in the same way as white elitism. Walk with me. So I went to Vanderbilt University, which is objectively a highly selective institution. And most of my friends are people who went to Vanderbilt or similarly ranked institutions. The honest answer is that every young black person in New York City who went to an institution that's ranked, let's say, in the top 30 or one of the really big HBCUs like Howard, the AUC, Hampton, etc., we all know each other. And we've all known each other for a really, really long time. Some people know each other from when they were super young, like elementary school. They did Jack and Jill, they did the Lynx. They, went to summer camp together. Other people we meet in high school when you do like SDLC or other diversity outreach programs. And a lot of us meet in college through programs like MLT, SEO, Emma Bowen, and so forth. And then most people will move to New York City, LA, Chicago. Pretty much we're all going to the same cities post-grad, or you're just going back home to where you're from. Like in my case, I'm from New York. I came back to New York. But even within that, us all knowing each other, we all work in similar fields. Everyone worked in like consulting, tech, banking. So everyone was making $100,000 when they were 21, 22 years old. So now that people are like 25, 26, they're making a lot more money. People are just earning a lot. Black friend groups work the same way as white friend groups. They're based on education, they're based on socioeconomic class, and that's how people meet each other, and that's how they become close friends. I talked about this before, but really what it comes down to is that elitism.
Listen, her basic point was that black elitism works just like white elitism does, and if you were in certain circles, you're going to get the exposure, you're going to get the opportunity. And I think that, go ahead.
I just want to point out how she called her college an institution. She did not refer to it as college or university. She referred to it as institution the entire time.
Language matters. And to your point, that is something that is probably spoken within their class structure, their things. It's just the way that, that's a very good point. That is a very good thing to draw out, because I think that when we think about, you know, we often talk about affirmations and self-talk and things like that.
She was cracking me up, but everything she said was on point.
And so I think that it is, one, your approach and how you look at things. You know, we listen to Deion Sanders, look good, feel good, right? It's a reflection of that. And when your self-esteem is lifted up, you feel better, your back's a little straighter, you hold your head higher, right? And that can make you more attractive to people. Doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, just genes, what you're born with. I keep going back to the point, pretty is obtainable. But however, I do think that in the 80s, when we think about music, it was changed. You know, think about the 90s. Super, super tiny women, heroin chic was the thing, right? Which was a cycle from the 60s when they had the waif look. But it impacted Countess Vaughn. Countess Vaughn can sing, act, crazy, funny, but it impacted her career as an R&B artist. We know she had the chops. We know she had the stage presence. But unfortunately, she was trying to come out in the 90s when it was stick thin. You know, I've seen people comment about how they think it's unfair that she was called fat and that those were the jokes made on Moesha about her. And they're like, she wasn't even fat. Well, it was considered then when your average model was 100 pounds. We've now moved the goalposts and things look different. And now that BBLs are popular, we understand, that was just regular size. Not just that, the perception of what is pretty changes. And the values that are brought with it change as well.
Yes.
Andy?
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I feel like got me thinking about Jennifer Hudson, right? She came into the game. You know what I'm saying? She had a little bit of meat on her bones and whatnot. And maybe a lot of people, because she got married to your boy Otunga, buff dude, she was like, I got to compete. So let me go ahead and lose weight.
I don't even think it was because she got married to him, because she got married to him in her current situation. Now, maybe,
she did.
Here's the thing, though. Maybe sometimes, we don't know. Sometimes being with an attractive man when you are not in your feeling your best self has an impact, a psychological impact that can cause you to feel a certain way. But I also feel like she was in here, this music industry, and she knew she was going to be looking like an NFL player, not for long. I don't mean literally. I'm talking about not for long, that part of it. As far as her career, if she didn't do something to change up the physical landscape. There's been some examples of who people say are bigger women in the chat. I saw Jasmine Sullivan was mentioned, right? True. But Jasmine dropped a lot of weight. And Jasmine, crazy talented, pen game on point, mad singles. But nobody was really paying attention to Jasmine as much. Not nobody. She was there. But when she came with reality show, so I think that you're right. It does matter, but it also depends on the time, the era, and the place. When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We'll hear more from Trent, the artist, on this topic, because I can see he has something to say and he's been holding back. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Los Angeles Urban League helps African American and others in underserved communities achieve true social parity, economic self-reliance, and civil rights. For over 100 years, Los Angeles Urban League has ensured our communities have access to careers with living wages, opportunities to start and grow businesses, and clear pathways to personal and professional growth. Programs like BizCamp, Construction Career Academy, Bob Business Ready, and B-Warp. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Program are examples of the ongoing events designed to make our centennial mission to rebuild Black Wall Street right here in LA a reality. To sign up for our newsletter or to support the Los Angeles Urban League with your time, talents, and donations, visit laul.org. That's laul.org. The Los Angeles Urban League is a proud sponsor of Urban Family Focus Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin Ultra Strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, yeah, drop it. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Listen, so one, there was a question. Jennifer Hudson and David were not married. They were engaged for a while and then they broke up. So clear that. Jennifer is now dating Common. I feel like Common is a rite of passage for black actresses in Hollywood because he's dated Erykah Badu. He's dated Taraji P. Henson.
All
he's
of
dated
Black Hollywood.
Regina Hall. Tiffany Haddish,
all of Black Hollywood.
Pretty much, like he's a rite of passage. So, if you are popping,
you know what? He's for the streets too.
He's definitely for the streets.
Wow, that's my birthday twin though.
Really?
We have the same birthday, March 13th.
I mean, I was just about to say,
and we both went to Southern.
He's a Pisces,
yeah.
So
Pisces
he has that emotional.
They do
connection.
be for the streets though.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that he's never been married. He has a child.
Pisces be wanting to be in love and be wanting to be tied down and married with one person obviously, but it just doesn't work like that sometimes. Because
was that your version of flashing a ring?
I do it periodically.
Okay.
But we all know that Kim Zolciak told us that the ring does not mean a thing, okay? Because I'm not married, nor am I engaged any longer. It's just on at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, this conversation has been interesting. I'm sure we can circle back around to it at some point. Do you think we got anywhere with it? Do
you
have a
did.
difference of opinion?
So no, we established that there is privilege in being attractive, and what I did take away from the conversation is that people who are attractive don't necessarily know that they're attractive right off rip, and when they figure it out, they don't really use it in a way that is like nefarious or in a way that off-putting. They use it in a way that is good and beneficial to everyone involved.
So what do you think about this? We'll touch on it a little bit. The reaction that attractive women sometimes, or attractive people in general, get from their same sex. Like, she not that cute. Oh, he's soft, because the girls are talking about he's fine. Things like that.
Yeah, it's just people
that's
hating.
The downside,
Because, again, and I think that goes really for stereotypically attractive people, right? I think that everybody at a certain point wants to, because there's levels to attractiveness. It's like Halle Berry is stereotypically attractive to me. A man, what's a man that's stereotypically just extremely good looking? Can't think of one right now, off the top.
Just beautiful man.
What's that? Let me think of a
Kobe. Kofi. Why did I say Kobe? Kofi
sure.
Subre.
Yes. Boris Kojo. Yes. Okay. He is somebody that is stereotypically attractive. And then those are to me 10s, you know what I'm saying? And then it just goes down from there. So I think that most people want to be stereotypically attractive, right? Or if I look this good, or if I, they would maneuver different. But I don't think that most people are really able to handle being a 10 all the time, 24/7, because that comes with stuff.
It does. Pretty Brown Mimi says Lisa Ray McCoy knows she's pretty. She says it all on her TV appearances.
She's pretty and she's attractive, but she's not a 10.
You don't think Lisa Ray's
not
a
at
10?
All.
Andy's like, eh. So,
no, she's not. She's not She's attractive, but she's not stereotypically attractive. When people when people think of an attractive, people automatically default to Halle Berry. She's the top of the food chain.
I think she's one, but I think. Listen, am I taking this personally because people tell me I look like Lisa Ray? I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I didn't look. All I said that she wasn't a 10. She might be a 9.
Listen.
Okay, and it's no
Y'all
slight
better be lucky
no slight to you.
That I'm lazy and I don't put that thing on day after day.
You know what?
Because I don't
even. You done already made it clear that you selective and you ain't talking to nobody no way, even if it was done up. So come on.
But still, I could give you the visual. You know what I mean? I could pull it together.
But you do though. When you come in, you be cute.
I'm just but here's the thing. Like you said, there's levels, right? So I think generally, I step out and I look nice, I look presentable, I look cute, but I know the difference.
Well, you're above a 7.
Why, thank you, Trent. But I mean, there are days where I feel like I'm like, oh, girl, you put that on.
Yeah.
Those days are few and far in between because, like I said, I'm lazy. But I do feel like, if I were to make the effort day in and day out, there are some things in my life that might work differently if I put that effort in.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's a fact. But then I also think that it would bring a lot of headaches as well.
Mm-hmm. It does bring a lot of headaches.
Forensic accountant is saying,
you know what? He is
on Lisa Ray.
He
all these things. T. Swarns, Urban Spinster said Rick Fox as far as a classic attractive man. I think so. Rick has, really chiseled profiles, so he gives you that. Yeah, some people might think he's overly attractive, etched out, but
and it's so funny because Boris Kodjoe, I think he is they're very similar in looks, but I think that Rick Fox has more of that 80s fine look than Boris Kodjoe does.
Well, he's older, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's the thing, both of them have married at least at one point. Obviously Boris is still married, Rick is not, but they both married archetypical beautiful women.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Green eyes, if you go on the light skin thing, pretty stunning couples. Vanessa and Rick, Boris and Nicole. Andy?
European features.
You know what? He would say that at 11:55.
Right?
Okay, so go come stir the pot. But in our defense, Jill led with a dark skinned person at the top of it. So she started off with Kofi
Sibre.
Yes.
Yeah.
She started off with him. So she tried to steer away from it, and it came back to it. Because we don't have time for the whole light skin debate
people are
tonight.
From Ghana.
Yeah.
AI Method Man.
I mean, what about them? They fine?
Yeah, Method Man. Okay.
Just are they the stereotypical?
No, I actually no.
Because nobody was talking about Method Man when he first came out. Now all of a sudden it's just
no.
Wu-Tang Method Man.
Wu-Tang Method Man. Bring the Pain Method Man. When he was even on the subway with that whatever contact was that covered that eye, you knew meth was fine. However, he did everything in his power to make himself look dusty and rugged because Wu-Tang was for the kids, not for the women. Do you know what I'm saying? Older Method Man, refined Method Man, grown man Method Man is on a different level of attractiveness. There's something about that seasoned mix.
When you grow up, it's like when you, as a man, when you age, it's like, come on, I'm not about to be looking dusty and crazy, and you want to change it up. I'm just trying to think of somebody. I was trying to think of somebody that was hood fine, or
AI. So AI is a very beautiful
that did not
man.
have Caucasian features, so Andy could calm down and not be back there tripping.
Listen, we're gonna have to revisit this this conversation
now I'm
again.
Thinking about this
because we brought up lots of things, and we haven't really talked about the downside of attractiveness. Because I think for men and for women,
well, I think the major thing is people think that you're stupid,
and they think that they can play with you.
Yeah,
I mean, listen. Like I said, how many attractive men get called soft? How many times do they get tested? You know what I mean? What was it? I saw like in the 80s, 90s, Gen X guys.
Especially them light skins.
They'll be very much talk about pretty MFers and stuff like that.
Don't even get them Kappa started. My God.
Oh, God. Capistrol.
Now I'm taking punches at people.
All right. Listen, I don't know if these things are personal, but.
That one was.
Ooh. Urban Spinster brought it up too in the chat. People get intimidated when you look good. When you look good too, though. And they really do. And it can cause a lot of issues. And people can treat you differently and want to try and put you in your place. Even if you aren't doing anything, they still might feel like, oh, well, they get breaks all the time, or people are always doing this for them. So they want to show you that you're not special,
right? Even
if you aren't presenting yourself as such. That's just sometimes the way that it goes. Pretty Brown Mimi says Russell Wilson gets tested. He does. I think that he would fall under. He has, the nice hair. He has a brownish complexion, but
got the Hawaiian silky.
He got the Hawaiian silky, but he probably was considered a cornball. We'll get into all of that again at another time. Thank you for rocking with us, VIPs. We appreciate you every night. Thank you from Annie from Soul Delicious LA from checking in. Thank you every week to Trent the artist, Trent Jackson.
Thanks for having me.
Andy, make sure that you are back with us tomorrow. We have another exciting packed show for you. When we come forward, the best of KBLA. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. Good night, y'all.
Thank you. Ooh, I found it hard to find someone like you.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.